Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Love Talks. I'm your host, Ina Love, and today we have a new segment on living for God. We are actually completing our series on living for God. So today we're actually in our 15th Love Talk segment. So we are just moving right along. I always like to begin by saying for anyone who's new to Love Talks, welcome. If you are returning to Love Talks, thank you. I appreciate you for being here. If you've missed any of the previous Love Talk segments, you can find all of them here on my Facebook page, also at my YouTube channel, which is at Ina Love Poetry. And I would appreciate if you would stop by and subscribe. Also on my Facebook page, my website, somethingaboutlove.foundation.org. So again, if you've missed any of the previous segments, you can find all of them. Also, just so I won't forget this, when you're watching the Love Talk segments, if there's ever a segment that you're watching and if you really enjoy it, or if it comes to mind that someone might benefit from the information that I'm sharing, please tag their name in the comments, and that kind of signals them to watch. So I would appreciate just kind of helping me to get people engaged with the Love Talks. But I truly appreciate all of you who take the time to be here. So let's dive into our segment today, Living for God, which I'm so excited about because I absolutely love God. Hopefully we all do. I am just returning, although I didn't go anywhere, but I'm just returning from a 3-day at-home silent meditation retreat. I just spent the last 3 days in total silence, just dedicating my time and my heart to being with God. And it was an absolutely beautiful and powerful experience. And I'll share a little bit about what I've gained in the retreat. I'll share that as we go through this segment. But today, I just really want to focus on sharing some information, insights that might help you to develop a closer relationship with God, which is something that we're all hopefully working on. I work on that on a daily basis, just growing closer and closer to God. So, I just like to say that I'm not ever trying to tell anyone how to live their lives. As I said, I just share information and tips and ideas that have been helpful for me. But, I'm just sort of planting the seed. And truly, it's up to all of us to do our own work to really develop that relationship. So I want to begin this segment with just sharing a few ideas of what it looks like, in my opinion, what it looks like to live your life for God. And the first thing I would like to start with is, living for God means taking care of yourself. And the reason being, our body is a temple, the place where God resides, the place where love resides. So it really is our responsibility, in caring for God, in living our best life, in living for God, to take care of ourselves, take care of our body temple, which we talked about that. We talked about loving the self in one of our previous segments. So I'm not going to go back through, exactly what that means, but, take care of yourself, eat right, exercise, ample rest, really, loving yourself. That's a big one, truly loving yourself. And, as we talked about in previous segments, doing whatever you have to do, anything that is in the way of you loving yourself, we need to work on healing those things. So again, living for God is really about loving yourself and being aware of the light of God that lives within you. And, it's our responsibility to nurture that light by taking care of ourselves. Also, living our lives in dedication and devotion to God. Devotion is such a beautiful thing. And I actually think it's probably one of my most favorite words, actually, because, to be devoted to something is so absolutely beautiful. So I'm doing my best to devote my life, my heart, my time, my work, to truly live in devotion to God. I've mentioned on previous segments that the artist Prince Rogers Nelson, who passed away several years ago, someone that I truly, truly admire. And one of the reasons I love him so much is because he truly devoted his life to music, and what a beautiful thing that is. Like his entire life was music. That is incredible. That is devotion. Also, I've talked about George Washington Carver, the inventor who's known for all of his peanut inventions, but he absolutely adored flowers. And George Washington Carver had over 300 inventions in his lifetime. And he said that he adored flowers so much that the flowers actually would talk to him, and he got all of his inventions from flowers. So I'm sharing that to say, that is the beauty and the power of adoration, of devotion. And truly, I mean, my own personal belief, I really do believe that, when he was in that space of adoring flowers, with his heart open and the deep love that he had for flowers, that God was able to speak to him. But however it happened, when he adored flowers, he received information. The inventions came. So again, devotion is so beautiful and powerful. So, just something to be aware of. Also, being your best self, that is also living for God. And what I mean by that is, being the best that you can be, the best, in your way of being. So something that we really need to be mindful of is, like the choices that we're making and how we're showing up in the world, how we're living our lives and the things that we choose to do. Living for God is truly all about, being the best that you can be. As I like to say, being a beneficial presence in the world, someone who's positive and making a positive impact on the world. So, really give that some thought in, how we show up in the world. We truly want to live our lives in a way that is pleasing to God. Also, living in service. There's so many things that we can do to live a life of service, whether we choose to start some type of an organization or, a foundation or, many, many things. There's so many people in the world who need help with so many things. And, even if you're not necessarily the entrepreneurial type of person, there are so many organizations already out there who are established and doing great work. And we can always choose to get involved with these organizations. So, we just want to do something that contributes to helping our brothers and sisters in this lifetime. So, just consider doing something that is in service to someone else. That is a beautiful way of living in devotion to God. Also, caring for others, being a compassionate person. It seems to me that when I look at the world at large, like, when we look at the world in its entirety and we see the things that are happening in the world, it really seems that there are a lot of people who don't really care about others. There's some truly selfish people in the world, but it's really a beautiful thing to care about other people, to be conscious of the things that you're saying and, your actions and things that we choose to do and how they impact others. So, we have to start to look outside of our own box and really consider other people in the choices that we're making. That is what conscious living is all about, which I've mentioned several times in previous segments. But, truly caring about others is a really beautiful thing. And also, we did an entire segment on fulfilling your purpose in life. But to really align with your purpose and fulfill your purpose, that is also living for God, because God has a plan for each of us. There is a divine plan on every one of our lives. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to share some information that will really help you, to really start to think about that and open that door if it is something that you're interested in pursuing or discovering. But truly discovering what your purpose is and working to fulfill that purpose, that is also living for God. That is, living life in dedication and devotion to God. So again, I'm just planting seeds. These are things to think about and, for you to really contemplate. So, as I've said, we've done so many segments and I've talked about so many things, but life is truly meant to be happy. And it seems there are a lot of people in the world who have either forgotten or, maybe, we've just gotten so entangled in things that we have going on in our lives. And, particularly in this time in our lives, there's so much going on. There's so much fear. There's, so many reasons for us to not be happy. But joy is actually the evidence of the presence of God in your life. When we truly know that God is alive, that God is present, that God is with us and for us, the truth of God, that should really bring joy to our hearts. So no matter what is going on in your life, you can always return to that truth. The truth of God's presence in your life is a foundation that we can stand on no matter what we're going through. And that's why I always say it's so, so important to really develop that relationship with God, to have that bond, that connection. And, don't get me wrong, I'm not judging anyone by any means. We all go through things, that's life. We go through things, and there are things that, some of our experiences that, it's really hard to stay upbeat and positive, when we're faced with these challenges. But just to have those little moments, even if it's just, a glimpse in the midst of whatever you're going through, when you can just be present to the fact that God is, God is with you, God is present, God is for you, that should bring some sense of comfort and hopefully, maybe perhaps just a little joy in your heart. So again, something to just, really contemplate and be aware of. Suffering, which I actually consider to be somewhat the, quite the opposite of, having a happy and joyful heart. Suffering actually comes when we stray from God. If you think in your life to a time when you've really, let's say perhaps made some bad choices, that is obviously evidence of straying from God. And, what comes with that is the consequence of our actions oftentimes. So suffering comes when we stray from God. So you really want to keep God close, which I say all the time. You want to keep God close, keep your sights on God. Always think about, what is the best thing that you can do in living for God? What should you say? What should you do? How should you act? Just keeping God in the forefront, in the front of your mind as you live life. That is living for God. So everything that we do, whether it is going to work, whatever your line of work is or your profession, your career, whether you are washing dishes or mowing the lawn, um, everything we do is for God because, God is everything. God created the universe and everything that is in it. So we really need to try our best to do everything we do with the mindset that we are doing it for God, because truly that is true. Like, I say God is my boss. I work for God. Everything that I do is for God. Even when I'm preparing a meal, and I do this, I've been home during the quarantine now alone for almost 8 months. And when I'm preparing a meal, I'm preparing that meal knowing that I'm not just nourishing my soul, I am nourishing the light of God that lives within me. So, to really just be really conscious of God's presence in your life is such a beautiful way of living. So, again, all of these things just to spark some insight and things to that we really need to contemplate and think about as we make our choices in life. Also, living from the heart, which I kind of just touched on lightly, but living from the heart means you know following your heart. I think we always know in our heart what is the best choice to make for ourselves and for others. But living for God is truly about living from your heart and really, putting your heart in everything that you do. As I said, whether it's, what the things that you're saying, the things you're doing, the choices you're making, let those choices come from your heart. And that is living for God. That is pleasing to God. So planting seeds, I'm planting seeds. So I want to, touch on again for anyone who may be new to Love Talks, because I'm talking so much about God. And, I would think if there are is anyone watching this segment who doesn't believe in God, just perhaps by the title, you may pass this segment. But I just like to share that when I speak of God, I'm speaking of, God being the source of all creation. God is a pure energy. Actually, God is the energy of love. And that energy is ever present, always around us. And we can tap into that energy at any time, like truly at any time, just, through your conscious awareness of, I'm going to think of the presence of God, then that energy is there and you can actually feel the presence of God. Perhaps you have had an opportunity in your life to feel, like people say, I felt the spirit, or maybe when you're listening to a song, or if you've seen something that's truly beautiful, you in that moment when you're feeling that, that is the presence of God. The energy of God is what you're feeling. So, just to be aware of what God is, as I've shared before, the God, the generator, the operator, and the destroyer, not the vengeful, destructive, wrathful God that, religion teaches, which, I do challenge some of what religion teaches because, we have the right to discern everything that we read, everything that we hear. You should run that through your truth filter. And I don't think of God as, like I said, a vengeful, wrathful God. God is a creator, and God is creating from our wishes, wants, and desires. And, some of our thoughts are quite negative and destructive. And, those things are manifesting. So we have to be really conscious and aware of what we are creating at all times, or co-creating, I should say. Also, let's see. So I just want to make a correlation here. We've often heard that God is love, which is absolutely true. God is the presence, the energy of pure love. So, by the same token, love is God. And actually, the reason why I'm so and I'll just call it what it is. Like, I'm so infatuated with love. Like, I adore love. And I think so many people are afraid of it because we've been taught to fear God. No one wants to be hurt. So we're so afraid of love. But God's love is the purest form of love, which will not hurt you or harm you in any way. So, when I think of love, I actually think of God. I don't think of being in a relationship, which that is, of course, obviously, a beautiful aspect of love to be in love and in a relationship with someone. But when I'm speaking of love in all the messages that I share each day, when I'm talking about God and God's love, I'm talking, I'm speaking, I'm sharing on the pure energy of love, which is God, which is ever present. So we really need to start thinking of love in that manner. I think often, when we hear the word love, we immediately think of being in a relationship, which might bring up a lot of the negative feelings that we have because of, perhaps unhealthy relationships or, unrequited love or, the many, many things that we've been through, in relationships. But love, if we think of love as God, I think we will get so much more comfortable with the idea of love. We'll be more open to sharing love. And, I'm talking about the unconditional love that is of God, that we should have for everyone and everything in this life. So, like I said, really just contemplate on what love is and, being that loving presence in the world. Again, that is living for God. So each day, my daily prayer is for God to open my heart even wider. Like, literally, this is what I ask every day. Open my heart that I can love deeper, that I can love more, that I can love completely with all that I am. I just want to love. And I do, like, I truly do love. I love everyone. I love everything. I love life. I love myself. Like, there's so much to love. I love God. I love uh, just everything. I love all of God's creation. And, if we all start to think in this way and live in this way, we truly can make a difference in this world. We can start to heal the world. And as I always say, we think about the magnitude of what is going on in the world, and it, perhaps seems overwhelming. And it is, because there's so much to heal. But each of us have our own responsibility to show up in the world as a loving presence, being the best that we can absolutely be. And that's all that we can do. We don't have control of any other person or any other thing. We do our best, we do what we can to make a positive impact in the world and live from our hearts. And, that is your responsibility to God. That is your responsibility to life. And that is what is expected of each of us. Whatever another person chooses to do, whatever choices they make, that is between them and God. So live your best life, live your life for God. And believe me when I tell you, like, the doors, will open. Like, God will show you in so many ways that God is present in your life. And all the things that you're asking for and wanting in life, you will start to see those things manifesting in your life. So it's truly important to, keep God first. That's a rule, I would say, to keep God first in everything. Um, I just had this thought that I wanted to share. Um, I was thinking, what if Jesus were to return? The Bible actually says that, Jesus will return. And I was thinking, like, what if Jesus were to actually return today? If somehow, in some way, we knew that Jesus had come back. When Jesus lived over 2,000 years ago, obviously, like the world was not ready to receive him, but he came and, sacrificed his life. He showed us the gift of love. And, that gift, the gift of love that he came to bring to us is still present. It's truly, it's not that we have to wait for another savior. I mean, love is alive, love is present, and we need to be aware of that presence. And just in the same way, as I said, in the same way that I devote my heart to God, I feel such a deep devotion to love, because I know that they are one and the same. So love is so vital and important in our lives. And it's something that we're all seeking, but truly we have it. We absolutely have it. God is with us. The love of God is with us. God truly loves each and every one of us. So there is nothing to seek or find. You already have that love. And, ideally, you want to find a person who knows that same love, and you can share in that love together, a true love. So, but I was just saying that, really, we don't need Jesus to come back. Although, trust me, I hope and pray that Jesus comes back, because I think if he did come back, we would truly be ready to receive him now. 2,000 years ago, humanity wasn't ready to receive Jesus. But if Jesus came back today, I think the entire world would be down on our knees. But, if we truly know that God is, we should be on our knees, thanking God, living our lives for God. And, again, we have to start to think in this manner, that is living for God. Let's see what else. Okay, we talked about learning to love one another. Okay. So, if you have ever loved someone, and I think at some point in our lives, we have all loved someone, whether it was a parent, a child, a close friend. I think we've all experienced love to some degree. So I would say that we all know what love is. Clearly we do, because, at some point in our lives, we wanted love. So we have some idea of what it is. I think some people have given up on love, which I don't even know what to say about that, because, love is just the most beautiful gift to life that we have. But I'm saying all of this to say that the same love that you may have had in a relationship, or like I said, that love of a child, a parent, perhaps even yourself, we need to love God in that way and think of God in that way. Like, God is this beautiful presence in our lives, and adoration truly is love. So, again, I'm planting these seeds because we need to work on going deeper in our faith, deeper in our deepening our connection to God, that bond, the love, because I think there's this idea that God is here for us. And that's absolutely true. No question about that. God is here for us. But truly, we are here for God, to live for God. So, again, sort of switching our perception of what God is and the relationship that we have with God. So I want to share a little bit. I think this will be helpful in helping you to see how to live your life in devotion. And prayer and meditation is such a beautiful, positive, beautiful and powerful way of doing that. So, I've talked about how prayer is talking to God. And often, when we're talking to God in prayer, we're asking for something. You can also talk to God just to talk to God. Like, you don't have to have a reason. Just, if you need someone to talk to, God is there. You can talk to God at any time about anything. But also when we're praying, not only should we pray for ourselves, we need to pray for the world. Truly, that should be a daily practice because, again, there's so much to heal in the world. But prayer is a really beautiful and powerful tool that we have. So use the power of prayer. Do your part. That is the least that any of us can do, which is not, I don't mean that to diminish it in any way. Prayer is such a powerful tool, but it is the very least that we can all do to help to assist with the evolution and the healing of our world is to pray for our world. So, try to give, even if it's just a moment or two each day, in dedication to prayer, praying for our world, in addition to whatever prayers that, we typically ask for ourselves. And that's, kind of like what I was talking about, how, some of us are very selfish in that way, like, but we have to think about others in everything we do. So consider praying for others. That's living for God. That's a beautiful thing to do. Also, I want to share a little bit about meditation because I'm sure some of you who are watching this do meditate, and maybe there are others who don't really know what meditation is or how to meditate. So I want to share a little bit about that. First of all, meditation is just as beautiful and powerful as prayer because when you're meditating, you're actually, as I said, prayer is talking to God. Meditation is listening to God. Meditation is being with God. So meditation is all about just being still, to quiet the mind. We have so much going on in our lives right now. There's so much fear. There's so much, uncertainty, so many things. But to just be still in meditation, to quiet your mind and just come to a place of centeredness, a place of knowing that God is with you, that God is for you, that God has you. In a sense, it's like a retreat. And you can retreat anytime, anywhere. But you have to take the time to get still and do that. So I want to share a little bit about, what's considered like a proper technique for meditation. Ideally, you want to do meditation sitting in a chair, sitting upright, which, that signifies your attention, that, you have an intention to sit and connect with God. So sit upright in a chair with your feet on firmly on the floor. You want to have your hands facing upward on your lap, and your palms are facing upward to signify receiving, that you are receiving the presence of God into your life, into your heart, into your space of meditation. And something that I learned in my 3-day retreat that I just completed, which, sometimes we do things and we don't even really know why we're doing them. But I've always meditated, and you connect your thumb and your forefinger together. Is this your forefinger? I don't know, index finger. Sorry if I'm saying the wrong finger, but these two, you put them together. But it's a beautiful thing because this actually symbolizes your willingness to let go of your ego. So, and, don't feel any kind of way about that. If you're like, oh, I don't have an ego, we all do. We all have a little bit of ego. So this actually symbolizes your willingness to surrender or let go of your ego, which means that, in a sense, you are surrendering to God. And that's so beautiful. So, put your thumb and your forefinger together, palm faced upward on your lap. Also, if you take your middle finger and tap in the center of your forehead, we actually have a third eye. Some of you may not have ever even heard of that before, but we actually have a third eye in the center of our forehead. And the third eye is called the all seeing eye. It is your eye of intuition. Like, if you've ever maybe perhaps closed your eyes and saw a vision, or, you might actually see visions in your meditation. When you tap on your third eye, again, in the center of your forehead, you are activating, signaling that you want to open your third eye, which is really beautiful and powerful. So, again, these are some tips and techniques on getting into the space of meditation. Also, before you begin your meditation, you want to take a few deep cleansing breaths, like a slow, deep inhale, perhaps hold your breath for a few seconds and slowly release the breath. And this is all about calming and centering yourself, like preparing yourself to enter meditation. Because, we may, say, oh, I'm going to meditate, but, you just finished going through who knows what. Like I said, you can enter that space, as a little retreat. So you want to calm and center yourself, just to kind of perhaps slow your breathing a little bit to help clear your mind, clear away any energy that you may be holding. So take a few deep breaths before you actually, close your eyes and actually enter meditation. Something else that I learned, which I actually love this, that I'm now incorporating into my practice, is to put a little smile on your face with your meditation. Again, particularly if you're entering meditation, to try and release something, which is a beautiful tool, for helping you to release anything that may be bothering you or troubling you. But by putting a little smile on your face, you don't have to have like your whole grill showing or anything like that, but just a little grin. It actually triggers something in the brain. It triggers a sense of joy and happiness. And you can do that actually whether you're meditating or not. Like if you're just feeling a little down about something, just put a little smile on your face and watch what happens. It's almost like magic. So just a little smile is really beautiful to use as a tool in meditation. And anytime you need just a little pick me up. So remember to just, keep that little smile on your face. And it triggers a chemical reaction in the brain that actually induces joy. So a little tip that you can use with that. There's no set time on anything with meditation. For some of us, like actually sitting very still, and that is a very important part of meditation. You want to be absolutely still, like truly, even if you had like the urge to clear your throat or, to move, ideally you want to sit very still because you are training yourself, to really stay focused on God. And if thoughts are, just flowing through your mind, because like I said, ideally you want to clear your mind. But if the thoughts are flowing, just kind of be aware, like, okay, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about that. But just keep coming back to your breathing, like thinking about your breath, the inhale and the exhale. Think about your breath and to try and clear your mind, because really you want to clear your mind is the goal, so that you can hear whatever it is that God wants to share with you. Something else that I learned in my meditation retreat, there are actually, and there may be more, but we talked about 3 different types of meditation. And I was actually doing all of these. I didn't know that there was actually a name for them. So I'm going to share it just kind of, so that this, but it really doesn't matter in terms of like, oh, do I want to do this one today or that one today? It's not like that at all, but just some of the different types of meditation. So there is contemplative meditation, which is a meditation. You're actually entering meditation contemplating something, like something that you may need clarity about. And Reverend Michael gave an example, like he said, Perhaps, let's say, if you read a poem and you didn't understand that poem, he said you could read that and then go into meditation and receive the meaning of it, which I thought was very beautiful. But you can contemplate anything. So just, go into that space, do your tapping, sit upright, your hands together on your lap facing upward, and thinking on whatever the question is that you need some insight or understanding on. So that's contemplative meditation. There's also existential meditation. And existential meditation is a meditation that you enter if you're wanting if you're wanting answers to questions about your own life. For instance, um, if you want to know what is your purpose in life, you can do an existential meditation, entering that meditation thinking, what is my purpose in life? I want to know, why am I here? What is my purpose? Who am I? Questions that you might have about yourself. Think on that question, enter that meditative space, and, just get still and be quiet. The answers will sometimes come in meditation. You know, the key is to just relax and allow. Like if you're trying, like, okay, I'm trying to listen, I want to hear like if you're trying too hard, it won't work. So the key is just, to let go and just trust God. You are safe, you're in a safe space. God is with you, God is for you, and allow the answers to come. Uh, you know, the answers to your questions may not necessarily come in a meditation, but you may have an insight later. But, when you're sitting in meditation, things may come up like feelings and emotions, things that you haven't healed. But meditation is so powerful, such a powerful tool in helping us to really come into who we are, a powerful tool toward healing. Like I said, answers to questions we may have about life. Such a powerful tool that we have. And you want to, develop it as a practice, like by doing your meditations try to do them around the same time every day. Make it like, perhaps you light a candle or have a flower there, like something that, you want to place there that represents God, connecting with God. But it's such a beautiful tool and a beautiful practice. So I really, really encourage you to, start incorporating meditation in your life. If you have more questions about meditation, or more information on how to, there's so many videos online that you can just, Google. There are guided meditations where you can listen to someone actually walking you through the process of meditation. And like I said, there's no time limit. You can meditate for as long as or as short of a period of time. And you might actually be surprised when you actually go into meditation. Time might pass very quickly. So, but, just like I said, incorporate that as a practice in your life, and it will really help you a lot, particularly if you're going through some really real challenges. Again, use that opportunity to just, connect with God and kind of let go, even just, for these little short windows of time. Let's see what else. Okay, because I've covered a lot of this. So also, I want to say that, we really need to search our hearts. Like we all know the truth, to anything about ourselves, anything that we have a thought about in our hearts, we know the truth. So really search your heart in thinking about God and thinking about your relationship with God. Do you absolutely believe? Is there still a shred of doubt or any fear? And again, no judgment whatsoever. We've been taught to fear God. So if there is still some fear, some doubt, perhaps if you're not sure, really look at that. And, with your willingness and your desire to let that go, you can develop a stronger bond and connection with God. So, I just wanted to mention that because, again, I know that honestly, I remember when I still had questions, and that's a natural thing. So again, planting seeds, things to think about. Um, we want to walk through this life with God, knowing that God is with us and for us. And like I said, being aware of God's presence in our lives every single day. That is, and not only every day, but, every moment of the day, whatever you're doing, do it for God. Do make your choices, decisions, your words, your actions, your thoughts pleasing to God. We are here for God. So I think, oh, and lastly, um, you know, try your absolute best to be happy, because I think that is the greatest thing that we can do in this life is, to enjoy life. We can have a positive outlook on life, no matter what we're facing, no matter what we're going through, just to be thankful for your life, to be thankful for God's presence in your life, to be thankful for, whatever blessings you have in your life. Because, believe me, if you are here right now watching this segment, you are truly blessed. There's so many people in the world who, don't even have the means or the time or the ability, to go and seek information that, could be helpful to them. So, we have so much to be thankful for. So we are truly blessed. So, we have to really think in these terms, think in that mindset of all the good that we have, versus, being so focused on the negatives and the things that are, perhaps, not exactly as we want them to be. So, just try to stay focused, try to stay positive, spend some time with God, some dedicated time with God. And it's really a beautiful practice. So that is our Love Talk today. I'm going to, of course, announce the winner of our book drawing for last week. And for anyone who's new to Love Talks, if you're interested in entering the drawing, you just, leave a like or a comment in the video, and that automatically enters you in the drawing for the following week. And the winner this week is Robert Thibodeau. So Robert, if you are watching, congratulations. I'll be contacting you for your mailing information. And I do have a poem that I'm going to share. It's a poem that I wrote to God. It's titled His Love. So I'm going to close the segment with that. But before I do that, I just want to say that this morning, I didn't have a topic for the next series of segments that we're going to do. When I woke up this morning, I was like, wow, the new series hasn't come to me yet, but I did receive it. So the next series is going to be Into the Heart. We're going to be going into the heart. So, we've done a series of segments on healing the heart. We've done a series on love and relationships. We today are completing the Living for God series. And then we're going to start to move into entering the heart. So, and I'm just going to be sharing a lot of information about, what is love, how to show up in the world as love. So, I look forward to seeing what comes and sharing, and I hope you'll, plan to join me for that. So I'm going to share His love, and we'll close out the segment. In His love, I am surrounded. Through His eyes, I clearly see. By His joy, I am uplifted. Through His comfort, I find peace. In His plan, I don't know this poem by heart, so forgive me. In His promise, I believe. As His plan ever unfolds, With his strength, I can move mountains when his presence I behold. With his grace, I am renewed. By his hand, I shall be healed. In his mercy, I am lifted. Through his word, I am fulfilled. For his favor, I am grateful. In his greatness, I believe. In his power, I find glory, and his blessings I receive. In his time, all things reveal. His love shall conquer all. In this truth, my soul can rest. From his rock, I shall not fall. His light shall lead the way. Through him, we'll all be healed. God is only love. His love thou shalt not fear. So I thank you guys so much for being here for this segment of Love Talks. And as always, I wish you a beautiful, safe, healthy, happy week ahead. And I look forward to talking with you again next week. I hope you'll join me and take care.